Hey there, welcome to another episode of Fans of Motion, the ultimate Night Ranger podcast. Joining me, like always, is my trusty sidekick, Dave Nadelman. Dave, how you doing?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. And right below me, I don't know how the screen's going to show up, but when I'm looking at the screen, right below us is, listen, look, right there. You know, you know when someone is great when another man will wear a man's picture on his chest. Totally not gay. Uh, my buddy Eric Levy of Night Ranger. Eric Levy, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure as always.
You know what? I'm a little bit perplexed because you don't have that cool funky wallpaper behind you.
Oh, nope. I actually had a power outage today at my studio, and so a friend of mine allowed me to borrow a little office space here for a
Well,
bit, and it all
you know
worked
what?
out.
You know
Here
what?
we are.
It's good to have, friends like that. You know what I mean? Like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Uh, scratch, whatever. So you are a lucky individual, and I like the lengths that you will go to get on an episode of Fans of Motion.
Power
Nadel,
outage, earthquake,
you know,
tornado, he'll still show up.
Nadelman, I'm like, Nadelman, can you record tonight? And he's like, what time? Because Barney Miller comes on at 6:30. And I'm working around fucking Barney Miller for this guy. Uh, But on this episode of Fans of Motion, we got Eric Levy. We're just basically we had a fun, last 2 weeks. I was out with them for a while. We did shows in Pennsylvania. Then we did that crazy, cool, kind of unique show helping close down Counts Vamp'd in Vegas.
Mhm.
And we had a lot going on. I'm like, you know what? Let's just get on the podcast and let's just kind of talk about the shows and get a little bit behind the scenes and stuff like that. But before we get started, that Eric Levy shirt right here that I'm wearing and the back of it, here it is. Look at that. Look at that. $30, get a hold of me. We still got a few left for getting low. I don't think we got any mediums left. $25. I need to get you one of these, Eric. I don't know if I got you one. The Fans
Those
in
are killer.
Motion.
That's
Always,
such a cool shirt. Always on
always on
tour.
tour. Just, that way you can wear it and people like Fans in Motion. That must be a cool cheap trick fan
Tribute
page.
band.
Then you got to explain to them. No, not really. But yeah, so if you're interested in Fans of Motion shirts, Eric Levy shirts, get a hold of me. We got a lot of stuff coming in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to give you a little bit preview. We got an episode coming up where we talk about these. Have you seen these, Eric?
Ooh, uh, that live in Japan is really cool. I have heard
Always
that.
that is probably one of my favorite releases. One, the recording of it is great.
Hmm.
And two, I just always like that, design. But these are mini LP. These are CDs that are designed to be like mini LPs,
Oh, really?
just released in Japan. So, like with Dawn Patrol, it's got the Obi strip, and there you go. And if you open up the record, it's got the actual record sleeve like it would have been on the
Does
album.
it really?
And we'll compare this to the 2007 box set because they are similar. This, though, is the first time this has ever been printed.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow.
we will go over that in an episode, and in a couple weeks
Very, very cool. I wasn't even aware of those.
we are going to, well, none of us really when it was first announced, but that's, on par. And then in a couple weeks, a week after that, we are going to talk about this
So, what is this? Metal Warrior.
Metal Warrior. This is Carrie Kelly's project.
Ooh, fantastic. That's a
Um,
killer graphic too.
we got graphic novels, CDs. I mean, this is probably three LPs. I mean, this thing is thick. I don't know if you can see it there. I don't want to show it off too
Oh,
much because that's what the
crushed
episode is.
goals.
But we are going to open it up, go through everything. I've got all four graphic novels, the CDs, and um, so if you want to get a little bit ahead of the curve, go to Spotify, all that shit, type in Metal Warrior. You'll see all, I think they got 5 or 6 songs released, and Carrie sings on probably at least half of them.
Holy crap! How have I not even heard this music yet?
Well, you guys all live
He's
in your
been
own
he's been
little.
keeping his mouth shut about it. It's now. I'm glad you told me.
um,
That's
I,
now I can go scope it out.
it's I would tell you the first song to go check out if anybody's out there, Metal Warrior, and the song's called Medicine. Great track, and Carrie is lead vocalist. There's a
Oh,
female
killer.
vocalist that sings some of the tracks, and then his buddy Greg Koch, who used to own Stone Brewing, he does like the rah 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 rah, like the rock and
The
metal,
screamo
yeah,
metal.
Oh, does he?
and
Fantastic.
not all of it's like that. I mean, it's very eclectic, and then they've got, I don't know the guy's name, but they've got like a big time artist that does all the graphic novels. And tomorrow, which with when I release this, it may be no, it may be today. I don't know. How's Hollywood work? But anyways, Thursday the 26th, Carrie's in New York City. They're doing some big brewery thing and comics and
Really?
stuff, and he's going to be there with all those guys signing autographs and all that stuff. Probably drinking beer too. Um,
Ooh, I wish I was there for that.
so there you go. It's a
Wait,
little
is
bit
that
of
tomorrow? I know
uh,
Carrie's in New York City right now.
yeah, that's
We're skipping
Thursday.
over there. Okay.
Thursday, June 26th.
Oh, fantastic. Man,
So
sounds like a blast.
so we got a couple fun weeks coming up, but today we are going to talk a little bit about Night Ranger the last couple weeks. So Pennsylvania, we had the 2 dates in Pennsylvania,
Mm.
and it was the first one was in Washington, PA. Um,
It sure was.
that was at I can't remember the name of the casino, but it was a unique stage. The stage was small, but we got everything on it. But the venue, I mean, it held 1,100 people. Um,
It was a really small stage, but you know what? Like that crowd was unbelievable that night. And I say this as a, born and raised in Chicago, grew up grew up going to Chicago Bears games and always like, we're the best, we're the loudest, even though, Chicago fans will boo and all that. But anyway, like there's definitely something to Western Pennsylvania, and there's a reason why so many people say that the Pittsburgh Steelers have, the most incredible fans out there. I mean, just it's and Pennsylvania for rock and roll in general, but holy crap, was that crowd loud in their singing and enthusiastic, and that was just such a fun time.
hmm. I think too, it also has to do with the venue where it's not, they weren't making people sit down. It
Mm.
wasn't really like a theater. And I think it was just set up, it was like that has that perfect recipe for the crowd to get in it and for the band to, receive that energy.
Oh, you're right. It felt
Um,
more like a rock show because people were. Oh, right. Yeah, I hear you.
what, um, what I remember a few things is the night before, Jack and Ed and we went to dinner. And these are just things if I, 5 years ago, I would just been amazed at, me and Jack talking about Bob Dylan.
Mm.
It's like,
Oh, yeah, that movie just came out.
yeah,
We
and
talked about that movie. Yeah.
we're kind of throwing, because Dylan's definitely way before my time, and no one I grew up with was really a big Dylan fan, and I was kind of like picking his brain, like, was that something that was big, with you growing up, and he's actually become more of a Dylan fan in his older age than he was younger.
Mm.
Um, but just those conversations were fun. But the leading up to, we knew the second show, the big outdoor show that we're going to talk about here in a bit, was going to be outside and weather was going to be crazy. So Brad's birthday was going to be that Sunday. So Friday in Washington, PA, we got him a cake, and it was
Nice.
kind of, fun to go up there and wish
Oh
him
yeah, we did.
happy birthday, and um, got our picture taken and
I
all
doubt he
that.
even ate any of that cake. He's on such a health kick right now.
Yeah, I don't know if any. I mean, I know there was a couple slices missing, but uh, he.
Hopefully the crew got some.
I'm trying to think who the heck it was. I didn't even get any,
Oh
um,
no, you're kidding.
not that I'm on a diet or anything. I think I just was busy. Uh, the other thing I thought was fun, and I do have video, I'll eventually post it, is, Sly Stone
Mm.
from Sly and the Family Stone had passed away.
Right, he did. Legend.
And you will learn more of this in the upcoming months when we do all the history of Night Ranger. But Jack kind of got his break going into Southern California and recording with Sly with Jerry Martini before Rubicon.
Wow.
And
Yep.
now none of the recordings survived or have been released. I mean, could they have survived? They might be sitting in someone's closet, but there's nothing out there where you can go listen to Jack Blades and Sly. But Night Ranger has that strong correlation with Sly and the Family Stone because Jerry Martini was part of the Family Stone, had known Sly since they were teenagers, and obviously Rubicon
Rubicon.
was Jerry Martini's band, and so Jack came up with Martini and played with Sly, so it impacted him significantly, I think. And at sound check, it was very cool to see them kind of jamming to Slide and the Family Stone.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were, weren't we? I always
Um,
love it when he starts popping out with the with that. Oh man, because yeah, it's what a great sound that band had. And such a the way they blended everybody together. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter what color you are,
mhm.
doesn't matter if you're male or female. It's like, let's get everybody up on stage, and what music they came out with. I wish I could hear some of that too. I hope somebody has that somewhere in a closet that we get to hear someday. Oh,
Yeah,
Jack and Sly. Oh man.
I don't know all the details of it, but Jack, like I said, did record with Sly, and but yeah, it was just fun hearing them. You guys do some Slide and the Family Stone and Jack playing some of that Larry Graham bass.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
Here for those watching, there is. Well, I don't know how I'm doing there. I don't know if you can really see that. There's Brad Gillis's cake. A couple of slices taken out. Happy birthday, Brad. I went to go get because I went and got the cake that morning, like red and black and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, you need 24 hours. So I had to find like the most rock and roll cake, which basically meant don't, picking the one without flowers and getting his name in red icing.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
so it had like little tassels or something on it. Uh, one of my favorite things at shows is, and you may not see this because you're so, you know, in, so far into the machine, is I always like, depending on the venue, where Kelly takes his little practice pad and sometimes he'll find his own little corner. And, I'll be doing something and I'll walk around and I'll see in this little corner just Kelly Keagy just hitting his practice
In the
pad.
pad, yeah.
So I found uh I was this, the dressing room was outside in a trailer, and outside the trailer by himself there was Kelly Keagy just drumming away on that little practice pad, and I took a photo from a distance, but it's always one of my favorite things. Just, is whenever you're at a venue, sometimes he'll just find his own little nook and be uh be practicing. So I don't
Oh
know.
man,
Again, if
they're
you can
yeah,
see that, again, this isn't the
still
best,
bringing it
but
still.
there you can see from a distance, there's Kelly
He
Keagy.
absolutely shreds on that on those practice pads too. If you've ever heard like actually heard him on that thing, he's playing some wicked stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, from a distance, I'll just sit there and watch him, and he'll just be making all kinds of different beats, and maybe sometimes doing some scat vocals, and um, so definitely, definitely, one of those little things. I mean, like I'm lucky to get to see and enjoy. One, how the majority of the crew doesn't like the spotlight, right? Um,
Mm.
so I was able to get some people to meet Steve, but we went back for a
Ooh, that's a
fan.
tricky one. Getting
Yeah.
Steve to meet people. He's yeah.
Uh, well, it just happened to be we all met kind of at the back, and at the back was where the front of the house was. It's like what's that like ironic? The front of the house is all the way in the back. But anyways, so we got to taking the group film pictures, maybe 20 of us, and
That's a nice turnout.
um and uh oh shit. Dave is back there, Radley, and he's going to take the picture. So
Oh, that,
I'm in the picture, and we get it done, and then I'm like, all right, everybody, Radley's getting in there with you, and I went and I made Radley get into the group, and then
oh, I saw those photos.
I made everybody
Individual shots with
point to Radley, and so we had a good laugh with that. So everybody was getting the crew involved. Um,
oh, wonderful. One, it's
and
we have such a tight knit crew right now, and they're just absolutely rocking it.
definitely, I mean, this has really been a stable lineup too. I mean, really
Sure
no
has been.
changes for maybe a year and a half or so. One thing that was interesting about Washington, PA, June 13th was so at work I had to find how many days between certain like judicial decisions and like now or whatever. So there's a website where you can just put in dates and it'll calculate, okay, it was this many days between these two decisions. I'm like, I wonder how old I was. I was thinking like my kid's about my age when I went and saw Night Ranger with my grandma took me to go see Night Ranger in 1985.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I did my birthday in August 18th, 1985, right? A date that's been engraved in my head forever. And it spit out the days. I can't remember how many days. Let's say 7,900 or whatever. And then I was like, I wonder exactly how old my kid is, on that exact day. And so I took his birth date and added those days to that date, and it spits me out the date. It was that June 13th date.
Oh, fascinating.
If the show
Really?
wasn't at the casino, I
Oh, he
would
would have
have
been able to be there.
I would have brought him because he would have been the exact age to the day
Oh,
That you are when you first saw them.
when I saw them. I think it would kind of, it would have been like when I tell these guys, yeah, I've been a fan, blah, blah, blah. Like when they see this little kid, like, yeah, that's me, you know, my begging my grandma to take me to go see these yahoos.
hmm.
But his mom made a video when I did mention that to her and he made, a small video of him and he's like, hey guys, Night Ranger, Seven Wishes rocks or something like that. And sent me that little video and I did send it to the guy, each of the guys and like, hey, that kid is the same age as I am now. Not the, I don't give it, not that it's going to weird him out, but it's like, I think it's important. Like, hey, this is everything I do now. That's where it fucking started, you know?
That's
And,
awesome.
um, So like, they were
That
all
is
kind of
awesome.
like, I think it kind of hit them like, oh shit, this guy's been weird his whole life. Um, so that was kind of neat to where I'm actually bringing him out to Kokomo next week.
Fantastic. He'll be with
Yeah.
us for the holiday.
Yep.
Is that
And
July 4th on
that is July 4th. And then July 5th, you guys are down in Kingsport for another like red, white, and boom type thing. But
are we?
yeah, my kid's suddenly interested in you guys, not because you're Night Ranger, but because you guys own instruments. And he's really
Oh,
into
okay.
instruments, and he just wants to see all the instruments and
Is he
see.
showing any kind of proclivity toward any
Yeah, I mean, he's,
single one or
he's, I would say drums and
right?
keyboards. Got him drum lessons, but he has just tons of musical instruments like pan flutes and
Oh, does
whatever.
he?
Yeah, just
Oh,
whatever
fun.
he can get his hands on. And so it will be interesting to say the least. But yeah, that little turd will be there next week.
Ah, look forward to seeing him.
So but yeah, Washington, very fun crowd.
They were amazing.
um it was a casino, so a very tight set. They don't want you to go over, they want you back in the casino. So I don't know if there was a lot of deep tracks, but
Was that the show? Oh, you know better than me. I'm getting them mixed up. No, I can't remember what our set list was that night. Was that the night that Jack was calling multiple audibles? No, that was
that would have probably been the following weekend because I don't think there was much
that
audibles.
might have been the show after Vegas. I'm
Yeah,
getting them all
yeah,
mixed
it
up. We're
probably
playing a
was
bunch.
because it was a casino, a hard 75 minutes, and I think they stayed
Okay.
um
Oh, right. Right.
pretty on course. Now, the one thing that was nice on my end, usually if I'm doing two shows, I'm heading with you guys after the show and going to the next place where I stayed behind. So I got to hang out with uh with a lot of the fans of motion people. Um and
Fibs.
and I didn't have to drive that night. So had a
We know what that means, Josh. We
I
know
had
what
a
that
steady flow of beer, drinking some Iron City beer. Um and we so I got to enjoy that. The weird thing about
And
Pennsylvania was I went to go buy, I bought me a six pack and I went to go buy some beers for the dressing room. And I had to buy each one individually, take it to my car, go back in and buy the next one. You were only
what?
you were only
They'd
allowed to
only let you buy one at a time, but they would let you like come in multiple times.
yeah,
So it's like,
and the person working was the one who told me to do that. Like
oh,
you can
he's
only
like, this is how you skirt the state law.
yeah, like you can only
Oh,
buy one
wow.
six pack or 12 pack at a time. So I had to go buy my six pack, put it in the car, go buy the 12 pack, put it in the car,
Oh,
And
man.
I'm used to seeing weird shit sometimes. Like it used to be like here in Ohio, being able to buy beer at a gas station. I never knew that was a luxury until you went to, some states and it's like, yeah, you can't buy beer in a gas station. Or
Hmm.
you get to some counties and well, one, they might be dry, but two, the only place you can buy it is the one beer store in the county. And
Oh, man.
so anyways,
Oh,
that was the first one there in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I hate trying to name everybody because I will forget some. But the thing about, like I said, being in Washington was I was able to drink with a lot of the fans of motion, Janice. Well, Janice was there earlier in the day, but Mary, Michelle, Kathy, there was Daryl and Lisa, Tom Chapin, a whole bunch of us. Um, you came out
Wonderful.
for
Yeah.
you came out for a beer. Uh, so that was good. Eric Levy showed his face and had a couple beers with us, and
Until I had to run to the bus.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
That was fun. Yeah. That
yeah,
was
we
really
had a
fun. It was short, but it was fun.
yeah. Well, then I had to end up driving, because the hotel, the casino, and the venue are all connected. But fuck, it was like a mile walk, from one end to the next. So it's
Oh
like
yeah. Wasn't that the one where it was like you, yeah, it was
like
like
you had to,
skyway thing
yeah,
or
you had to
something.
walk
Yeah.
through a parking. Like, why are you even connecting this hotel when you got to walk through a damn parking garage to get to it? So yeah, but it was fun being able to drink with everybody from Fans of Motion, and like I said, Eric's always a good trooper. Came out and took some
Awesome.
photos and stuff like that. Uh, God, we drank down at that hotel bar for not the hotel, well, the casino bar for um, God, probably 2 in the morning. Um,
Did you really
yeah, it was it was a good
party?
time.
Oh
Uh,
man,
then the
as it
next
should be.
then the next day was Washington, or no, it was Grantville, PA.
Grantville.
Uh, totally different than Washington. A big outdoor show. Quiet Riot, Bret Michaels, Night Ranger. Shitty gloomy day. Uh,
I think I saw a picture. Wasn't there a picture of you, Eric, like, and it was just pouring all around you, but you were under a cover, or is
It
I'm thinking of something
was,
different? Okay.
and that was an amazing Josh photo. Like Josh gets full credit. I had no idea I was getting my picture taken. It was just like I was just walking out there and like, whoa, look at all this rain, and he just happened to catch me like mid, like, whoa, what's going on out here? Yeah, that's thank you, Josh. That was such a killer photo.
well, that was a fun day. Like, I might be, I think it was actually in Washington. One thing I want to circle back to is Brad was gearing up to do the national anthem
At the
at the
Giants game.
at the Giants game. So one thing that was kind of cool was when we were in Washington, I took Brad's guitar from, the venue to his room, and I sat in there with him while he practiced the national anthem. And we took some photos and we did a couple videos, nothing that we wanted to use, but yeah, it was just like one of those things, and we Jack and Kelly kind of fucked with him at those 2 days. Like, God, I'm getting fucking tired of hearing that, because he's always practicing, and he was practicing when I was there. I just remember being on the couch, kind of like in the other little section,
Oh,
you know.
he took it seriously, and
Yeah, he
he
did.
did a phenomenal job with it. I mean, he got so much deeper into the harmonies that like when he first started talking to me about it, and he's like, yeah, I found this piano recording of it, and I'm like, this is so much deeper, and what are these? So it's like he starts telling me like what the notes are that he's hitting, and then it's like he like in the second measure he's like going to like a C in the bass and a G sharp on the top in the key of E, which for any musicians out there, isn't that's not your normal kind of like diatonic thing that you would go for most people when they play the national anthem, but it's that harmony is there, and it's absolutely there. And he found it, and oh man, I was so digging what he did with it. I would have loved to have seen it in person.
Like everything you just described, I heard, but I couldn't describe it like you did. I just like, that sounds cool. Because he's like, yeah, I'm doing this, and he would play like, okay, you normally play it like this, but then I'm kind of going to do it like this, and I'm like, like,
And when did he do that? When did he do that?
that was on Tuesday the 17th.
Tuesday,
So this,
Tuesday last
we're
week.
talking about Friday the 14th, and
Oh, so this is
yeah,
after
yeah,
he came back. Okay.
well, no, this is before he went and did it.
Oh, I got you.
So he's practicing, this, like I said, just the cool thing being in the room with him while he was practicing, and then at 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 Grantville in the dressing room, he's practicing it And that's when Jack and Kelly ribbed him a little bit, like, "Fuck, we can't wait till you," because he's just playing Star Spangled Banner over and over again. Brad and I ended up going to the venue a little early, so it's again kind of like 5 years ago. If you would have told me this, I would, but it's like we couldn't find where to get the fuck into the place. So like, me and Brad are in my new car, like driving around the back because we see a sign that says buses, right? Well, we're in, rock star mode. Buses, rock star buses, right? And we're like driving on the racetrack and shit. And we're like,
Oh, were you?
it's like, wait a second. It's like RV buses, so we had to drive all the way back around. And
They had tight security, if I'm remembering right.
yeah, because I had to roll down my window and like, okay, see this guy? Like he's supposed to be up there. And um, but we finally made it. And what was cool was we went and searched out Rudy Sarzo.
Hmm.
So Rudy was playing in Quiet Riot, and we found him. And there's a couple pictures that were posted that I took, and it was just cool just seeing those guys connect
Hmm.
and thinking about all the shit that they went through together, with Ozzy and everything else. And um, it reminded me of like two Vietnam vets talking about Vietnam, but their Vietnam was Ozzy, you know. Um, uh, you know, and
Like,
Interesting way to put it.
remember when Charlie almost killed
is
it?
there PTSD involved? It
Yeah,
could be a little.
like you got Sharon there, and all that good stuff. But anyways, it was fun seeing those two connect,
Hmm.
and got some photos of them. And
And we
Brad,
played Crazy Train on the show, right?
yeah,
And didn't
yep,
like Rudy come up like side stage, like
yes,
while we
yeah,
were playing it, and
yeah.
afterwards Jack was like, "Oh man, like couldn't we have figured out a way where he was going to play? Wouldn't it have been cool if he was playing bass with us?"
It's
Like,
amazing that none of us thought of that,
hmm,
you know. But then again, it wasn't the most. I mean, there was so much going on with the rain,
yeah,
and understandable.
yeah.
So,
Logistically, that day with that rain, man, yeah, it was like raining sideways onto my keyboards, and then
mhm.
it was like, "Don't worry, it's going to stop before we start playing." But like while we were playing, there were times where it would just start getting wet again, and I'm like, "Well, this is electronics. I hope it stays
Mhm.
hope it stays on here. We'll see what happens."
So, does the rain like that? I mean, is it going to damage your equipment? I mean, what's your,
I mean, I'm sure it would void a warranty. It's
it's like, is Night Ranger going to um replace this for you? Because I mean, it was um
oh, we've got instrument insurance and all that.
yeah.
It would, I'm sure it would work out, but it's, yeah, not an outcome that any of us are hoping for.
So was there a chance that the show could have been canceled because of weather, or was it that serious or
I think the only times we really cancel, as long as it's like a sturdy enough stage, um, then it's the only reason we're going to cancel is if there's lightning.
lightning? Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, lightning like is truly dangerous. We can't. But if it's just rain and there's people who don't mind getting wet, then hell yeah, we'll play.
Yeah, there was no wind really. There was no thunder, lightning. It was just
Just a
gloomy. And
downpour. Okay.
yeah, and it would be, sometimes a downpour, just a mist. And I mean, obviously electronics are different now than they were 50 years ago, but getting electrocuted on stage is something that has happened. And even, there was a band called Stone the Crows, and the guitar player for them, now it was more of a ground issue. His equipment wasn't grounded right, and he touched the microphone, I think, and created a connecting current, and he got killed on stage.
Holy
His
shit! How did I never hear about this? What's the
his
name of the band?
Stone the Crows, I think. His
Well,
brother actually was a big guitarist. I can't remember who he played with, but like the dude's brother actually was like a bigger guitarist than he was. And Ace Frehley from Kiss, I mean, almost was killed in Florida in 1976.
Damn, really?
Going down, maybe 77, going down the staircases that were down the side of the drums. And, he's playing guitar and walking down. He got the big heels on and he kind of, lost his balance a little bit and just kind of, took his hand to hold on to the rail and it wasn't grounded correctly. Um,
Ooh,
and basically,
ooh,
yep.
brutal. Holy
So
shit.
so I think you always think of, what do you think of musical instruments? Electricity, electric guitar, and electric guitar in a fucking puddle of water. It's like, they don't seem that interested, but you know what? I mean, I guess when you were a rock star in the 80s and you survived, nothing can kill you, I guess. So, maybe they just got that mentality.
Those were the days when we used to go to the playgrounds on concrete and all that. It's yeah, times have changed.
Um, but yeah, it
No
was
rubber matting or anything like that.
um but yeah, little things that was fun with that show was Quiet Riot came out and was playing, and me and Kelly were side stage
Mm.
watching Quiet Riot, and it was just kind of interesting to
Oh,
see it,
very cool.
fun to watch Kelly just sit there and just, and Kelly's, I mean, Night Ranger and Quiet Riot were playing gigs together in '83. So, they've
Serious
crossed,
history.
crossed paths a lot. And got to talk to the drummer. I probably should know his name more than I do, but his name's John. And I don't know, we were talking, and I thought I remembered had been in some bands. I'm like, what bands had you played with? Did you play with Danzig or something like that? He's like, well, I played with them for a little bit, but mostly I was in Typo Negative from,
Oh,
this
okay.
year. There, this year, I'm like, shit, I saw you open up for Motley Crue in 1994, and so we kind of talked about that a little bit. So that was
Killer.
um, another fun thing. But Quiet Riot comes out, does their does their show, and then obviously you guys coming out, short and set, but doing it in the rain.
We got to play our full, yeah,
Yeah.
got to play our full thing.
Now, one unique thing, if you go to now the live videos that I do, Facebook has changed that to where it used to be if I did a live video, it was there forever. Now they're only there for 30 days and they self-delete. You can't change it anymore.
Whoa, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Um, and any live video you've done in the past, they are deleting all those like at the end of June or July.
Whoa.
So like if you ever went
All
live
right.
with
Good to know.
your kid, now there's a way, Google it or something, but there's a way you can go into your app and go into your live videos and you can download them to your phone. But it used to be they'd stay there forever. Now they're getting rid of them.
Mm.
But so if you're watching this a month or so down the road, you're not going to be able to find this. But I went live at the Grantville, PA show, and I'm I don't know 20 rows back or something filming, and this guy next to me kind of taps me on the shoulder and shows me his phone, and it's him watching Night Ranger's feed of the show.
That's fun,
So
really. He's watching your live feed standing next to
I
you. Hey, check
I
this out.
pan the phone over to show his phone, so it's like his phone, on our feed, watching our feed, and afterwards I talked to him after we stopped the live feed, and he's like, "Yeah, I got alert Night Ranger was live," so I tapped it, and I'm watching it,
You're like, wait, this dude's standing next to me.
and he's like, holy shit, like that looks exactly where I'm standing. So he's kind of looking around. He saw me right next to him, and that's when he put it together. So
Fantastic.
that was a first. Um, but
So he was watching a feed of a live show that he was at.
Well, yeah, so when I went live, he just got an alert that Night Ranger was live. So he just kind of tapped it to see, what are they showing the show I'm at. And when he tapped it, it's like
It's view.
his exact view. He's like, it kind of freaked him out, like, wait a second, what's going on? Like, and that's when he kind of looked around and saw me. And so yeah, if you go there and you can see the phone there or on his on the live video. So after that, Brett Michaels,
Mhm.
always a good show. Our buddy Norm wasn't there. He was overseas on vacation, so I didn't get to see Norman Voss, film alumnus. Um, but I think you guys all took off early, and
Oh,
Brett,
sadly, yeah. Usually, uh, always, yeah. Brett invites us to come up, and usually it's joining him for Sweet Home Alabama. But it was I was scheduled to fly out of Harrisburg on that Sunday morning, and then that afternoon it turned out that all of us who were connecting through Washington Dulles were delayed, and I was going to miss my connection. So Ed was able to rebook me on a flight from Cleveland. But that meant that yeah, after the show, I just had to hop
hmm,
straight in the vehicle and do that 5 hour drive or whatever it was.
yeah,
I mean, I didn't drive; I
mhm.
sat in the back. But
You didn't take the front seat. Uh, so yeah, that was cool because I stayed behind with Brad and Carrie. And
that's
Carrie actually strapped on a guitar and went out there with it as well, which
fantastic,
so Brad went out there and did the solo and Brett
wonderful.
Brett was talking him up and everything uh
Oh, that's great to hear.
and then I think Carrie we had another vehicle driver. Carrie left and me and Brad stayed behind it for a little bit more and end up then going back to the hotel. But fun time. I mean, I'm living, like I said, I'm like a fat Make-A-Wish kid. Just living the dream.
Oh
Uh
man, the people in Brett's band too. Like I was happy I at least got to see them. Before the show. It's They're such good dudes. They Rob, the
mm,
keyboard player, and saw Dean Kramer, um, and then yeah, I think I saw Pete momentarily, but it's
mm,
all of Brett's band people. Mary on drums. They're wonderful, wonderful musicians and people, and yeah,
yeah.
it's a blast doing shows with them. It's always fun, always a blast.
And Brett is genuinely a good guy.
Mm.
Like I think I've told a couple stories where from a distance, people have thought me and Brett were like good friends, the way we interacted. And I had to tell him like, no, like that's just how Brett is with, everybody. Um,
Oh,
so so it's always good you know, just being, around that crew and it's always a fun time. And
yeah,
that Party Gras tour was definitely a fun time a couple years ago. Um,
yeah. That was a total blast with Jefferson Airplane.
yep.
Oh man.
So there was your, fun 2 days. Uh, we actually had a little bit of fun on the bus in Washington. Carrie and you and I and a few others and doing some
Oh, that's
shots.
right. We
Very,
saw Michael Strong was there.
uh,
Yeah, that's right.
um,
Tequila
so
on the bus.
yeah, which isn't always the case, but usually tequila, just not always on the bus. So yeah, so after that you go to Cleveland, I go home. This is Sunday. I'm home for a day, and next thing you know, I'm flying to Vegas Monday after work.
You flew in on Monday. Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
fly until Tuesday.
I flew in on Monday and met the crew at is it Nona's in Vegas, an Italian place,
Oh,
and it was Ed and Steve and Radley and Angela. Um, so we went there, had some Italian, went back to the hotel. The next day, what was kind of unique, so with Vegas, Vegas was a cool show, Nate, when you shouldn't have missed it, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I know. It was literally impossible for me to make it.
Listen, you do anything you put your mind to.
That's
So
true.
everybody
And
who
I love Vegas. I love Vegas.
it
Vegas,
was one. It was an amazing show too.
mm,
Like a very much a one of a kind.
definitely. If you've watched any History Channel in the last 15 years, you got what is it, Pawn Stars, and you got Danny Coker, who does Counts Customs, get the cars and stuff, and they always call him in when they're looking at buying a car. Anyways, he's owned a rock club there for about 15 years called Counts Vamp'd. Just your typical rock club. Anyways, they're closing and they're bringing in some big bands to kind of close it out in style. Faster Pussycat played one night. Um, Shit, I can't remember who the band was before. Oh, Stephen Piercy and Warren DeMartini from Rat, then Night Ranger, and then this last weekend, right? Or the weekend, anyways, was is going to be Loverboy. And I think they're closing it more because they're going to do something else with the land. I could be wrong, but I think that's the reason why they're closing that.
Hmm.
But so it was unique in the sense that it was fun seeing Night Ranger pack their shit into a club show. It was unique.
What's the capacity? What was the capacity of the?
Fuck, I don't know,
300
400,
something.
I think the capacity was 400.
Hmm.
Okay.
Now, tickets for like $150, something like that. They weren't cheap, but it was a small, intimate show. Um, and the another unique thing was they set everything up Tuesday, the day before. Side
Oh, right.
note, one cool thing was I got to go to the warehouse where you guys store your B rig. So that
Oh,
was
did you
kind of
really?
yeah,
I've
it
never
was
been
kind
over there.
of so that was kind of neat to go see that. I posted a few pictures on Fans of Motion. Um, so um, so we got to do that. Then we went to the venue, set up everything the day before.
And then we went to the place on your hat.
That we did. So a few of us, I think you and Carrie came in that day, um, and we went to Evolve,
My
and
first time at Evolve.
that was my first time at Evolve as well.
Hmm. I
Uh,
think they've only been open for what, 4 or 5 months?
yeah,
Yeah.
January or February. I got the hat there. Very cool place.
Very,
We were
very cool.
there. We were there on a
Yeah.
Tuesday. It was packed. Um, and so for those that don't know, Carrie Kelly owns a couple restaurants in Vegas called Aces and Ales. Basically, restaurants that carry a large selection of craft beer. Evolve Brewing is basically an Aces and Ales, but they have the capacity to brew their own beer, which is Evolve, and hence, you know, Evolve Brewing by Aces and Ales. But
Everything I tried was great too. Some of the names of those beers
oh yeah.
were cracking me up, but yeah, it's just so many choices of IPAs. And
Well,
then
I
at some
was
point he brought over the stouts, and the stouts were killer. Man,
I was so disappointed because I've been looking forward to going, and I was there, and I was exhausted. Two, I was on East Coast time, so it's already like 11 o'clock for my old ass there, and I was already stuffed. I'm trying to drink this thick ass beer like a loaf of bread, and I just had to tap out and like I'm done. The weirdest thing, going from East Coast to West Coast for me is I saw the Stanley Cup on TV, And I'm like, oh, this must be highlights from last night's game because it's only 6 o'clock. And I'm like, no, it's fucking 9 o'clock back in the States. And this is actually normal here for there to be the primetime games going
Game at
on.
in the early evening.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you get a chance, go to Evolve,
You try any
stroll.
of the food over there? The food is killer too. Man, those
I,
Brussels
I just,
sprouts.
yeah, I tried the Brussels sprouts. I did, like pickle chips, but like I said, man, I was so stuffed. Well,
Oh yeah, the pickle chips.
we
Oh
had
yeah.
the Italian the night before. So I mean, this was a nice Italian restaurant. So I mean, I had chicken parmesan, but like big ass piece of chicken. Yeah. Anyways, I wasn't shoveling much in the next day. So, but yeah, if you get a chance, go to Evolve in Vegas. Definitely a good time. And being a fan, it was kind of cool looking over and you see, there's Eric Singer of Kiss.
Oh yeah,
And
Eric was there. Yeah.
what's the dude from Five Finger Death Punch? What was his name?
Oh, Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris Kale. He's over there. And then I didn't know that Carrie knew Craig Gass, who is one of my favorite comedians. I just look over, oh, there's Craig Gass. And so I had to, when I was with Carrie, I'm like, introduce me to your buddy Craig. And so, it's like, I had to, and if Craig Gass, awesome comedian, but what I following him on Facebook forever, he's a great writer. And he writes like if he has a friend that passes away or something, he'll write like a little tribute to him. And I've just always thought when he writes those are some of the best tributes I've ever read.
Oh
It's
wow.
like I've read some, and it's like I felt like I knew the person. And so I just told him, hey, you're one of my favorite comedians, but some of those tributes you write are just fantastic. And he kind of joked that said, yeah, some of my friends always hope they die before me so I can write a tribute for them. But so yeah, it's like, sometimes it's surreal. Like I'm sitting there eating, we got two tables back to back and like I'm eating and I kind of turn around, to like adjust or something and bam, right there's Eric Singer. Hey man, I'm of course just replying, hey buddy, how you doing? In my head, I'm just like, dude, I fucking had a poster on my wall of you when I was fucking 13, you know what I mean? Like, uh, and
Hell yeah.
and Eric's a fun guy to talk to. I mean, we both first time we met in Vegas the year prior, somehow we got talking about 8 tracks and social media. And he's like, yeah, the only reason why I'm on social media is on Facebook is Facebook Marketplace to buy stereo equipment. And I had to get off the marketplaces because I have huge shelf over there with stacks of receivers, cassette decks, just all this vintage stuff to where like I've started, giving it away. Like I'm never going to use all this shit.
Oh
Like I just
man.
gave my brother a big complete set. Um, I had like VCRs, like I'd pick up, cool, nice VCRs.
Hmm.
And I'm like, which VCR you want? Come get one. But anyways, it was just, we kind of bonded on that. Like, oh shit, you're not and you know who always was selling them? Divorced wives or ex-girlfriends. They kept their
Oh.
shit. This was my ex-husband's. Fuck him. You can have it all
Oh
for
yeah. Time to
25
liquidate
bucks.
this. Yeah.
So I was always getting cool like vintage stuff for next to nothing just to but yeah, so that was cool just seeing all those guys there.
Sure
And
was.
then the next day was the show. Oh, while we were at Evolve, we were trying to find the the Brad doing the Giants game, which
That's right.
we were
I didn't end
able
up getting to see it until way later in the evening. We had the TV on at Evolve, and I think maybe they just didn't air
that portion.
right. But I caught it on Facebook.
Yeah. Um, it was hot in Vegas. There was that. Um,
It's always
I
hot in Vegas.
it was a little hot. But I mean, it's hot here in the East Coast, let alone there. But um, so the
Dry.
next, so the
So
next,
did Brad do the his gig and then he just drove over or flew over or got over from
yeah. So
the next day?
Brad did that Tuesday night.
And then and Darren flew out to San Francisco too
Yeah.
to be there with him. Yeah.
So Darren, uh, Brad's tech was out there. So the rest of the guys flew in day of show Wednesday, just because it's so close to everybody being West Coast. Um, so um, so we picked like day of show. Me and Ed picked up Jack, and we went to Evolve for lunch. And
Oh, did you?
I got to hit Evolve twice. Um, but
They have great food.
yep. Uh, so what was fun about the uh the show in that night at Counts Vamp'd was it was kind of there were going to be some people jumping on stage with the guys. Now, uh, what was nice or what was we met Danny Coker, the Count or whatever, from Count's Customs.
We
Like
did, yeah.
reminded me like of Bret Michaels. Like he came in to the now remember this is small, like we're all packed in a small dressing room and he came in and this might have been before everybody was in there and he saw me. He's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Like, "Hey, I'm social media." He's like, "Oh man, I love your hat. You a Tigers fan?" And I get that a lot. And I always got to tell him, "Well, actually, I'm a Reds fan. I just hate wearing a bright red hat." He thought that was the funniest shit ever. And and I was like, hey, "You care if I get a picture?" I got buddies that love your show, and I didn't say that to him. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, can I get so we snapped a picture together and we talked for a little bit and um but then he was there with the band and as Phil Susan, I
Hmm.
can't if I'm pronouncing that right, who did New Revenge with Carrie Kelly. Probably came up, a lot of people know that he co-wrote Shot in the Dark, played bass with Ozzy in the mid 80s with Jakey Lee. He was in Vince Neil's band originally. Jack got him that gig. Um, so yeah, so Phil was there, Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, um, Chris
Yeah.
Kale from Five Finger Death Punch, Eric Singer of
Yep.
Kiss. So so Sebastian Bach joined you guys for High Enough.
That he did. I think that was the first song of the like, okay, every single song now we're gonna have another special guest come up.
Mhm.
It was unreal.
Yeah, and like I said, this is a small club, so I mean everybody's packed in there. And it was a unique show. I mean, setting it up that day before, Kelly's always on the side. And on this show, Kelly's right in the center, like traditional
That was incredible too.
setup.
Having, I mean, for selfish reasons, I'm always on the opposite side of the stage of Kelly, and so it's like I always have to get him in my in-ear monitors. So to be on a tight club stage like that and be like right next to Kelly, and I was just like over the top interacting with them all because it's like all of a sudden it's like he's right there with
Yeah.
everything.
Well,
Like
I never really thought
pointing
about
across
that. Yeah,
the stage with his sunglasses on. I was having such a blast with that.
you guys are usually the farthest apart. And
We are.
so here's this I took. I don't know if you can see it, but very
Mm.
rarely do you ever see that.
No, we're never set up like that. Never.
Yeah. It
That's a great.
was Brandon was setting up the drums, and I was like, I he set his drums up in the center stage on one part of the Mojo tour back in '95. And I was talking to Brandon, Kelly's drum tech, and I was like,
We're snoring.
would it would it help you if I could find some of these old pictures? And he's like, yeah. So I sent him 30-year-old photos of the
Did you
Kelly's
really?
drums so he
Oh
could
wow.
kind of see how to adjust them. But yeah, so Sebastian Bach came up and did High Enough. How was it so Eric Singer came up and played drums while Kelly did sang Sister Christian.
Right. Kelly came out front and sang lead, and Eric hopped on drums. That was a blast. That was a total, because Eric's got his own feel,
Mhm.
and of course Eric was, really did his homework and was really faithful to the original version. But at the same time, I mean, it's Eric Singer, and he's got a killer rock group, so
Mhm.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you don't play with Black Sabbath, Kiss, Alice Cooper, all those guys if you don't have the chops. And I
Mm-mm.
mean, Kelly can bang the fuck out of the drums. It's just like guitar tones. I mean, you got Brad Gillis, but yet, when Nugent picks up a guitar and just hits a couple chords, it's like right away that's Nugent. And
Right.
you
Oh, you
know,
sure do.
and when Eric was back there, I mean, you see you don't see Kelly do this a lot, you know, and uh you saw Eric,
You're right.
you know, and you just know, okay, here comes Thunder. And um just a different, where Kelly makes it sound like Thunder in a different way. Here's Eric, and it was just cool to see that.
Mm.
Um, and then you guys closed with AC/DC, Highway to Hell.
Yeah, Highway to Hell. That was like, let's fit everybody on stage we possibly can now.
So you had Chris Kale from Five Finger Death Punch, playing Jack's bass.
Oh, he crushed it too. Yeah.
You had um, and this is one of the other cool things is Joey Allen from Warrant was there.
Joey played the guitar solo with
Yeah,
all the guitar players we had on stage. Joey played the
and
solo for
I
Highway to Hell.
I don't think he had in ears either. He
Mm.
was just going off of the drummer or whatever to keep pace. But one cool thing about that, Joey Allen's been on the podcast. Joey was cool enough to invite me to a show and hooked me up, and we bullshitted before a show, to where I'm in the dressing room and I hear, "Hey Josh, how you doing?" I turn around, it's Joey Allen. I'm like, Fem alumnus. It's
Hell yeah,
like
dude. Hell yeah, dude.
uh, I almost got the same percentage of people in Warrant that's been on the podcast as Night Ranger members. Uh, but it
Still
was
got to
cool.
work on that.
It was still cool. You know, seeing Joey, and I mean, it's like one of the cool things about this is meeting those people and having a relationship. But Joey played guitar. Sebastian came back out, and I went live. And what was cool is I was over behind Danny Coker. So like when the music started, um, he was all the way in the back, so I don't think the guys knew he was there. So then they brought everybody out,
Mm.
introducing them. They didn't see Danny, and he kind of stayed in the back to where when Brad came, like maybe after the first chorus came over, kind of, got the attention, like Danny's over here. And when he saw that, he's like, and Danny's like, no, and we kind of forced him out.
Really?
And
Oh, I was on the other side of the stage. I wasn't realizing
um
this was happening. Oh,
But
it's killer. That's
but
wonderful.
but it was cool to get the live video just of him watching all this happen in his place.
Oh, at his place.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
And
um
it was kind of a unique live that you did, Josh, because when you usually do lives from the back behind the stage, you got Kelly in your not in your way, but he's blocking you and
hmm,
you can't see everything. But now with Kelly over, towards the center, you get a rear view of and you don't really think it's the band that you think you're seeing because of the stage setup and that you can see all the players.
yeah, it was like I said, and it was just this little narrow stairway, and I'm not lying if it's like that size, to where we all had to kind of maneuver around each other. And like when Sebastian Bach came off stage, he just I was the only one there, and he just hands me the mic.
Oh, did he?
What I mean? He's just used to
He's like,
people.
you look responsible here.
So I'm saying, so I just walk around and give it to Griff. But it's like or like when the show ended, like, there's so many people, Brad just hands me Bubba. I just
Okay.
I just took it and waiting for Darren, like, come grab this. But definitely a fun one-off show.
one of a kind for sure. It's nothing quite like that has happened in my tenure, and I'm not sure it would again. I would certainly welcome it, but like it's how could you ever manufacture something like that again? Where it's like all the confluence of everything of Danny's Club closing and being in Vegas. So we had Sebastian there and Eric and Chris. And, man, unreal.
Yeah, it was it was a good time, unique. I'm glad I went. I wasn't really planning on originally going, and I kind of like Ed kind of told me, yeah, I think you are, kind of deal. And I had already had that Friday off. I had requested that Friday off for some reason. I had Thursday off. So I was like, well, if I just move Friday to Wednesday, I'm really only taking Tuesday off, tricking your brain. So,
And the only time you're going to see that many people is like at a tribute show or a benefit show. It's not like, you know,
mhm.
like you said, Eric, you're not going to see that a lot because but I mean, that's where you would see all those players would be at a tribute show or a benefit show, not a club closing show.
Oh,
And I mean, that
right.
speaks to the, popularity of Night Ranger. Night Ranger doesn't play rock clubs. They play theaters and casinos and I mean, it's fun to do that once in a while. When it's the standard, not so much.
No,
But um, it was a good show to see. There was some fans emotion there. I saw Barb, I saw Lonnie and his wife, and a few others. But um, yeah, and if you weren't there, you missed it. But you may have another chance to see Night Ranger in Vegas. Who knows? I'm sure they'll be back.
We might be back in Vegas.
You never know, right? Um, but yeah, so I don't know. Did we miss anything, Eric? Did we miss anything?
Oh, I think we captured the vibe of the evening pretty well.
I know that I was happy to be going home the next day and not going because you guys were doing three
We
shows in
flew
a
to
row.
Arlington the next morning. Yeah,
And I'm like, I'm done. Like I didn't know what day of the week it was on that Tuesday and Wednesday, like just from the weekend and then flying like the next day. And we're setting up a show, but it's like the day before, so it's already thrown you off. You always think a show's on a Friday, so therefore, the first
not
few,
loading into a club on a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah.
yes, so it's like I was kind of thrown off there a few times, but yeah, um, good times, good times. Nadelman,
Mm.
you missed it, motherfucker.
I did. You're not going to let me forget it. I know it.
So, what's new with you, Eric? What's new with you? Anything?
Oh, well, we got I think I'm flying out red eye tomorrow, heading to South Carolina. We got a show. And then we'll head to DC, Washington, DC for a few days, doing a private event out there. And then we'll head to Kokomo, Indiana for the
Mhm.
4th of July, which, man,
All
4th of
I,
July in Indiana, I love it. I mean, yeah, that's
all,
that's that's America right there. That's
all,
that's heartland.
all I know is those Beach Boys were full of shit because Kokomo, there was just fields and
That
like, chain restaurants. Um,
was a great song, in my opinion. Even though people think of it with the Tom Cruise movie, but that was a great song.
I think what John Stamos is in that video. Like he was
Oh,
playing
is it
drums with them,
really?
back then. And who co-wrote that was um oh fuck. Why the fuck am I dropping his name? Who's the main John Phillips from Mamas and
Mamas and
Papas?
Papas.
Oh,
I
wow, I
think,
didn't know that.
yeah, I think him and Mike Love and maybe someone else
Was
wrote
Brian
that.
Wilson involved in writing that one,
I
or
don't think so.
okay,
I think he was kind of out. I don't even think he's in the video.
okay?
I think what was the other Dennis Wilson had passed by then, but is it Carl? Was the other brother? I think the Carl Wilson was in it. because there was the three Wilson brothers. Dennis had passed, Brian wasn't, Carl was, and then Mike Love and you know um, the other Yahoos. But yeah, so Kokomo.
Now I'm gonna have that song in my head for the rest of the night. Thanks, guys.
And
We'll
then
get there fast and then we'll take it slow. Yeah.
so Conway is basically Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Uh,
That's why Jack said see you in Myrtle Beach. That would explain it.
yeah. You have to let me know if he's wearing his swim trunks. I had to go pick out for him. That was probably the most stressful thing I had to do that weekend was, it's like, hotter than hell. I didn't pack swim trunks. It's like gives me money. Can you go up to Target and get Jack swim trunks? And like there's 80 designs, right? Like, do I get him the one with the rubber ducks? Do I get it? So I video call him. He doesn't pick up. So now I've got to make an executive decision, so it's just like, all right.
It's the rock and roll life, Josh. The
I'm
rock and roll
like,
life.
I'm like thinking like, all right, do I get one that looks like the blue blazer from Seven Wishes? Do I, what outfit did he wear on Man Emotions or something that looks like that? So that's the stress I go through, people. It's not easy being on this side. Um, but yeah, well, Eric, I appreciate you jumping on here
Yeah.
with us, giving us a little bit of insights and just
Oh, Josh, Nadelman, thank you both. Fans in motion, everybody who's watching this. Yeah, man. What a fun summer we're having. Josh, you said we're gonna see you next in Kokomo, right? You
in
bring
Co
it out.
in Kokomo. Then I don't know exactly when after that. I was thinking about doing Detroit, but I'm thinking about not, and I may go up to that Cleveland show or whatever that is, that festival. But you will definitely see me next week. Probably you'll be hearing me just go, "Damn it, I told you to stop." Probably like on repeat. Um,
Oh,
yeah, but
in a parent
but he's old enough now where I can shake him. You know, I mean,
Jesus.
without fear of
so
infant death
Yeah.
syndrome.
that's when you know you're a good parent when you've raised your kid to be old enough to where you can shake them, violently. Um, but uh, but no, you'll see him next week, and yeah.
Excellent.
So listen, if you're watching on the YouTubes, click subscribe. Go to Facebook, Fans of Motion Night Ranger. Click join. I will accept you because I'm an accepting person. Go to Eric Levy's musician page on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, all of them, right? MySpace. Go to them all.
Back in the
Uh,
day,
and
I was on MySpace.
MySpace was the shit. We didn't know how good we had it back then. Um, and yeah, we just threw it away. But Eric, thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you very much for having me.
The blossom becomes the